On today's episode, we're answering the question, no, we're not, because I'm on the wrong damn outline. That money is the
Yeah,
root
well,
of all
they say
evil.
that money is the root of all evil, but actually, the proper quote is the love of money is the root of all evil. So that one little key sort of extra word in there is massively important. And I think essentially, money is it's an ethereal thing that doesn't necessarily really exist as such. It's I do a thing when I'm actually talking live in front of an audience where I hold up UK currency, but a £5 note. And everybody's like, well, why are you holding that up? It's just we see those all the time. It's like everybody's got one in their wallet or their purse. And then I get a £50 note out, which is our highest denomination note. And you can literally hear people like sort of make funny noises in the audience. They'll be like, ooh, because we rarely see £50 notes, in the UK, and it's normally like builders or drug dealers who have them. And I'm neither, by the way, just to like make that perfectly clear for your audience. And when I then ask people, well, what's the difference there? Like, why do you get these sort of warm and fuzzy feelings around like seeing a £50 note as opposed to a £5 note? Now, there's the obvious thing, a bit more rare, and they just look nicer. But at the end of the day, they're both bits of paper or plastic with numbers and letters and the Queen's head on it. The warm and fuzzies that we get is all about the projection of value which we put onto that piece of paper, or they're actually plastic now, basically. And that's where that whole thing around the love of money is the root of all evil, because there are positive and negative attachments to money and the value which we attach to it. And I think most people have been brought up on sayings which our parents, in trying to help us somehow, but unfortunately it goes the other way, where they're saying things like, money doesn't grow on trees. Somebody drives past in a really nice car, Range Rover or something like that, and your parents will be like, oh, that's grotesque. Why do they need a big Range Rover? Why do they need a Lamborghini? It's just, money doesn't grow on trees. Oh, you can't have those trainers, those sneakers, because we can't afford it this year. We can't go on that holiday because we don't have enough money. So we have all of this stuff that's just ingrained in us, and money is the root of all evil is just like one of the most common like things that we hear, and nobody really seems to question it. They adopt it, and the reason they adopt it is because as human beings, somebody says something to us, we go out into the world, and we like to find evidence to back up that way of thinking. So whatever that core belief is, let's go. If somebody says, well, money is the root of all evil, we'll go and find all of the evil things associated with money. Yes, money you can go and buy drugs with money, and then people go and have overdoses and die. So yes, there is a negative side to money, but let's also remember that money enables an awful lot of good as well. At a very basic level, jobs, you earn a salary at the end of the month. You can then pay your mortgage, so you've got somewhere to live, so it gives you security. You can go out and buy food for you and your family so that they've got something, nourishment, they can survive. Look at the good which charities create as well throughout the world. If money wasn't available, because we can't all go to the plains of Africa and go and build schools and things like that. It's just not practical for many of us. Okay, but if we can make a donation to a charity, then we can build wells, we can make the ocean cleaner, we can build schools in third world countries, we can do all of this amazingly good stuff with the money, basically. That money makes the world go round. I think we should remember that.
I
agree
think
with.
too.
Go ahead,
Jenny.
No, I was just gonna say I agree with the money thing, and you made me think about that a lot of people, and I think there's a stat, and I don't have the right numbers, so don't quote me on this, but I believe that there is a stat out there that says something about that your money mindset is formed as a child before a certain age. I think it's like before you're 10 or something like that. And that it's by seeing your parents, whatever your social condition is, it's by seeing your parents and how they deal with money, and then what they teach you about money, and it kind of sticks with you. And changing that money mindset and changing your own myths around money can be very difficult, but it is incredibly important, I think, as an entrepreneur, because everything we do as entrepreneurs is tied to the income we can create. And oftentimes we rely on that income to foster and support our families and other things as well, right? And I think there's a lot to be said for, and I think entrepreneurs are so good at this, that we are chameleons. We have to constantly be adapting to new things and doing a lot of personal and inner work. I never did this much inner work when I was in corporate. There was no need. It was a 8 to 5 job, and I didn't have to, do my stuff and clock out. But as an entrepreneur, I have to do all of this extra stuff to my mindset, my money mindset, so that I can achieve the goals that I want to achieve. It's a lot.
That's it, 100%. And you got the stat was, it's actually between the ages of 4 and 7 where we start to. So before 4, your parents would have argued, but you wouldn't have had the awareness to attach, like, under the understanding of what they're arguing about. They're just arguing, and it's not very pleasant. And like, my parents used to argue about all sorts of stuff when I was a child, but around about between the ages of 4 and 7, that's where your awareness around the words which they're using start to inform that. And let's face it, most families, money is the kind of, it's one of the major topics around, that creates arguments in a household. So if all that happens is when voices are raised and the word money comes up lots, well, hey presto, what's the attachment going to be? When you're a little selfless 4-year-old boy, you'll go and hide in your room, and mummy and daddy are arguing about money again. And I experienced that. I think 99% of families experience that, and it's really sad. But I think the thing about it is, if it's about just a process of self-awareness. When you reach a certain age and you can start to build your own life, business, employment, whatever it looks like, you can then start to make I forget the word, but there's a word for, like, when you have thoughts, you can, like, humans are the only being on this planet that have the ability to then process and think about the thoughts that they've just had. So if you find yourself anything that's money related, it could just be something like, I don't know, you see a nice coat and you've been wanting to you've been wanting a coat for ages because you've had your old one for 10 years or something like that. I don't know, it's probably not the best example, but if you immediately, your thought is, I can't have that coat because I can't afford it, you need to catch that thought and then start to reprogram it. It's not that you can't afford it, could be as simple as, I can't afford it yet. Or maybe I haven't, there's also a lot of attachment around, do I deserve this? Again, if your parents didn't buy you stuff when you were a child, you're less likely to reward yourself as an adult as well. And the same runs for business. What you find is a lot of business owners will earn just enough money to get by, and then really struggle to reward themselves through things like taking holidays, personal development, for example, buying courses or investing in coaches in order to make their lives and their world a better place, because that wasn't a thing either, even a generation or two. Like, the whole coaching thing is, like, relatively new, like, oh, couldn't possibly spend money on myself, so there's a lot of things here, but we've got to unpack. It's a very complex, like, topic, but it starts with, if you can just catch your thoughts, if you find yourself saying something negative and it's about money, just go, be curious, like, why did I think that? Why did I say that? What, and is there something in my past which informed me that made me say that? Because more often than or not, there is. And then it's very, like, you see the big sign behind me, it says fearless. It's very fear-based. It's because we're programmed to move away from stuff we don't like. So if those scary arguments were happening when you're a small 4-year-old and it's based around money, and something pops up about money without even really, like, processing it at a subconscious level, the fear kicks in and we want to move away from it. We just don't want to deal with it.
I have kind of started writing down, because it sounds like you're starting to give us some steps on fixing our money mindset. And so for those that are listening that have had the struggles or the negative associations with money, and they do say some of this stuff, so I can't afford it, I don't deserve this. I'm sure there are other things that people say to themselves or others about money. Fixing it, changing it so they have a better relationship with money. And really, I feel like the goal is not to be spendthrifty. We're not just throwing $100 bills or apparently 50-pound notes, which is crazy to me that that's the highest denomination you guys have. I'm just going to put that out there, because we have, like,
There was a time when £50 would buy you $100. It's not quite the same anymore.
Well, this is very true. All right. Touche. But, we're not just throwing these things out the window, but we feel in control. And I think that's really the goal here is it's not to just throw money at whatever you want or go on shopping sprees every week. It's to feel capable and in control. Correct? That's the point of a positive money mindset, right? We've talked a lot about why you should build your list, your email list.